We are on step 8, integrate use of 1 prime. This is use of 1 prime that we found previously. And what we want to do is integrate use of 1 prime to find use of 1. So I took the negative out, and I'm going to integrate x inverse tan x. You've got 2 factors, an x and an inverse tan x, and so I'm going to use parts. We should know the derivative of inverse tan x. That's 1 over 1 plus x squared, the 1 coming from there. That's a derivative. That leaves us x dx to integrate, and that's 1/2 x squared. So on this line, this is uv minus the integral v du. This is u times v minus the integral of v du. I pull my 1/2 out, and I'm left with x squared, integral of x squared over x squared plus 1. All right, well, your degree is the same in the numerator and denominator, and we know it has to be less in the numerator, so I have to do long division. I've got x squared divided by x squared plus 1. What do I need to multiply? What do I need to multiply x squared by to give me an x squared, and that's 1. Take the 1 times both of these, and you get x squared plus 1, and then you need to subtract. So you need to distribute that negative sign across both terms. That's going to give me a negative here and a negative here. Of course, these cancel out, which is what's supposed to happen, and you bring down a negative 1. So when you do long division, you're left with 1 minus 1 over x squared plus 1. All right, so I'm going to go to the next screen to finish up this integration. This line I have copied from the previous page. We did long division on this, and we rewrite it like that. I brought everything else down. I bring down the negative 1/2 x squared inverse tan x. I'm going to integrate now. Integrate a 1, and you get an x. The integral of 1 over x squared plus 1 is inverse tan. The rest of this problem is algebra. I'm going to distribute this 1/2. That gives me this line. And then the next line, all I've done is written my tangents terms next to each other, and I'm going to factor out that inverse tan. And that leaves me a negative 1/2 x squared. That's where I factored it out of that. Minus a 1/2 plus this. That puts me here. I rewrote this term. That's just x squared over 2, or negative x squared over 2. It's the only thing I did. And now what I've done on this last line, I simplified this into one term. That's negative x squared minus 1 over 2. You're subtracting fractions. You got the same common denominator. And you've got that times inverse tan of x. And then I brought down my plus 1/2 x. And then here, I just factor out that negative out. So I have a negative out front. I was just trying to make that last line look as nice as possible. So what we've done here, we have found the integral of x inverse tan x dx. So what we found is use of 1. This is use of 1.